breaking. Sophie Cunningham has agreed to a one-year deal to return to the Indiana Fever, sources told ESPN. Cunningham joins guards Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hall. And coming back to the Fever, Indiana has added newcomers Monique Billings and Ty Harris so far this free agency.
When the Indiana Fever announced that Sophie Cunningham was coming back, something unmistakable moved through the fan base. Call it relief, call it hunger, call it the sound of a city recognizing one of its own, because Sophie Cunningham isn't just a guard, she isn't just a shooter, she is a tone setter, a player who changes the temperature of a locker room the moment she walks in. And for Indiana, after a 2025 season defined as much by what could have been as by what was, her return isn't just a free agency move, it's a signal, it's a promise, it's a recommitment to a brand of basketball built on fire, edge, and absolute belief. Let's start with the need. The Fever don't just need Cunningham, they need everything she represents. Guard depth has been a question mark for most of the last 2 seasons. A team that wants to compete in the WNBA's toughest playoff picture can't survive on starters alone. They need the extra gear. They need the 6th woman who can fly off the bench and swing a game in 3 possessions. They need a guard who will take the tough shot, chase the loose ball, and square up to anyone who steps to her teammates. That's who Sophie Cunningham is. That's who she has always been. And that's exactly what Indiana has been missing. Think back to last summer. The Fever signed Cunningham knowing full well what she could bring, but year 1 didn't go as planned, and that's putting it politely. 2 May ankle injuries hit her before the season even had a chance to breathe. You don't get your footing, literally, and everything builds from there. The rhythm, the timing, the conditioning, the chemistry, all of it is delayed. For a player who plays on the edge the way Cunningham does, early season injuries are brutal. She doesn't grind her game out of a rhythm, she grinds it out of aggression, and aggression doesn't live comfortably inside a tender ankle. But here's the thing about Sophie Cunningham, you don't write her off. You never write her off, because when she got healthy, when she finally got to step on the floor the way she wanted to, she didn't just find her shot, she hunted it down. From July 11th through August 15th of the 2025 season, more than a month of elite level basketball, Sophie Cunningham shot 53% from the 3-point line. Read that again, 53%. Not a hot week, not a good stretch. More than a month of absolutely scalding shooting during the meat of a WNBA season.
Y'all wanted Sophie Cunningham, ladies and gentlemen. Well, guess what? The Trace Latest is officially all back together. Sophie just re-signed with the Fever today. We got the threes coming back.
Over that window, with a minimum of 30 attempts, she wasn't just good from deep, she was the best 3-point shooter in the entire league. Let that sink in, because this is the context nobody is talking about enough in a league that is obsessed, rightfully, with floor spacing, with shot creation, with efficiency as a religion. The person at the top of the mountain for that stretch was the player who couldn't even get on the floor in May. That's not a hot hand. That's a player arriving at the version of herself that she always knew she was. That's a player announcing to everyone in the WNBA that when she's right, nobody in the building wants to see her catch the ball at the top of the key on an open look, because it isn't coming back. And the injury bug was the only thing that could quiet her. That's the tell. When Cunningham was on the floor and upright, she was elite. When she was sidelined, the rest of the league got to breathe. That's not the resume of a role player. That's the resume of a difference maker who happened to get sidetracked by the one thing no player can control, their body cooperating with the calendar. So when Indiana brings her back, they aren't just signing a known quantity, they are signing a bet on health. They are signing a bet that the same player who caught fire for a month, the same sharpshooter who made the rest of the league guard the arc differently, is going to get a full training camp, a healthy preseason, and a chance to stack healthy weeks on top of healthy weeks. If she gets that, the ceiling is enormous, because the ceiling wasn't the problem, the runway was. Now let's talk about the intangibles, because Sophie Cunningham is so much more than a 3-point percentage. Anyone who has ever watched her play knows exactly what they are getting. She brings a style of basketball that you can feel from the upper deck. She plays hard, she plays loud, she plays like every possession matters, because to her, every possession does matter. You see it in the little things. A closeout that's a half step quicker than it needs to be. A ball pressure moment that turns a casual crossover into a turnover. A hand in a passing lane, a box out that knocks an opposing wing 2 steps off her spot. These aren't highlight reel plays. They're winning plays. And then there is the most important thing of all, the thing that every Fever fan is going to feel the moment Cunningham steps back into that jersey. She has her teammates' backs, period. She is not afraid. She is not going to stand on the baseline and watch. If something happens to one of her teammates on the floor, she is going to be the first person over there, chest out, voice up, making sure the message is loud and clear. You don't get to push around a Fever player without hearing from Sophie Cunningham. That kind of accountability is worth points. It's worth possessions. It's worth moments that never appear in a box score, but absolutely decide who wins close games in April, May, and deep into the summer. That's why Indiana needed her. Because chemistry isn't just on offense. Identity isn't just a shooting percentage. A team takes on the personality of its most committed players. And Cunningham brings a personality that is aggressive, confident, loyal, and relentless. When she is on the floor, the Fever look tougher. They feel tougher. Opponents feel tougher to play against too, in the best possible way for Indiana. Other guards have to think twice before bodying up a teammate. Bigs have to think twice before elbowing through a box out. The floor tilts. And let's be honest, that edge matters a lot more in this era of WNBA basketball than it used to. The league is more competitive, more physical, and more high stakes than at any other point in its history. New markets, new stars, new money, new pressure. In an environment like that, the team with the most mentally tough players tends to survive the longest. Skill gets you into the playoffs. Edge gets you through them. Cunningham has edge in abundance. There is also the narrative of year two. Year two in a system is always different from year one. Year two is when the reads get faster, the timing gets sharper, the sets feel like muscle memory instead of homework. Cunningham already has that foundation. She already knows the personnel. She already knows where her shots come from in this offense. She already has the trust of her coaching staff and her teammates. Layer a fully healthy season on top of that, and you're not looking at a repeat of 2025. You're looking at the version of Sophie Cunningham that the Fever believed they were getting when they first brought her in. Only now, she has a full year of growth, a full offseason of training, and a locker room that has been waiting for her to come back and finish the job. Same city, same fire. That's how the Fever framed it. And that's exactly right, because fire is the word. You don't rebuild a winning identity on calm. You build it on heat. You build it on players who don't blink. Cunningham is one of those players. Indiana already has stars. Indiana already has talent. What Indiana needed was someone who would look around the floor in a tied game with 90 seconds left and want the ball in her hands. Someone who would guard the other team's best option in the half court and take that challenge personally. Someone who would set a screen like it was the most important play of her life. That's the Cunningham effect. That's why this return matters far beyond the raw talent she brings. It changes the air around the team. It raises the standard of competitiveness. It tells every player in that locker room that the Indiana Fever are not here to look cute. They are here to fight, and they are here to win. And here's the wider picture for Indiana heading into the season. The WNBA is loaded with talent. Every contender has a star, a system, and a plan. What separates the teams that show up in the Final Four from the teams that fade in July is the ability to win the ugly possessions. The scrambled offensive rebound, the deflected pass that turns into a transition basket, the charge taken with 2 minutes left in a tied game. These are Cunningham possessions. These are the plays that champion caliber rosters convert into wins. When you add a player whose DNA is built around those moments, you don't just get more offense, you get a different kind of game entirely. Indiana can now play faster, pressure harder, and dictate the tempo on nights when the shots aren't falling. Fever fans have earned this. They have stuck with this organization through rebuilding years, through roster overhauls, through the grind of being patient while the rest of the league stacked headlines. Now they get to watch a team that finally looks like it knows exactly who it is. A team with shooting, a team with toughness, a team that plays fast, plays physical, and plays like it expects to be in every single game, right down to the final horn. That is the promise of Sophie Cunningham's return. That is the statement this front office just made. So to Sophie, welcome back. Welcome back to the fans who have been waiting for another night of 3-point barrages. Welcome back to a city that rewards toughness and remembers it. Welcome back to a team with unfinished business and a timeline that finally feels ready. The shooting is here, the edge is here, the identity is back, and the message from the Indiana Fever to the rest of the WNBA is simple and unmistakable. Same city, same fire, one of one. Sophie Cunningham is home.